G'day and welcome to another video. Whether it's a Halloween hat you're after or a hat that isn't quite normal, this mummy beanie will suit just about any occasion. Don't you think that Miss Polly looks fantastic in her mummy beanie? She's all ready for Halloween to go and scare the neighbours. So let's get started on the lesson. So what we're going to need is your basic hat. You can make any hat you like, doesn't matter. Could even be a knitted beanie. If you don't know how to make one, follow this video and that will show you how to make a hat. So we've got our hat. Also, we're going to need to make some eyes. You can make them any colour you like, of course. I'm just choosing these colours. So we'll make the other one to this in a minute. Oh, and we need a long tail, as you can see. And we also need our bandages. Now, my bandages, I used the double crochet foundation stitch. And what that does is it makes the chain and the double crochet as you go along. Now, I've only used 8-ply yarn, which is sports weight or double knit, so it's quite thin. If you're using worsted weight with a double crochet, it's going to be a lot thicker. You can use any stitch you like for this section here. It is completely up to you. So if you don't know how to do the foundation double crochet stitch, you can follow this video. You could also use the foundation single crochet stitch and then do a couple of rows to get your thickness. So it's completely up to you whatever stitch you use. So how much bandage do we need? Well, because we're using the foundation chains for this, foundation stitches, it grows as you go along. Like if you've ever done this stitch, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you don't do your chain first and then work the length of the chain. It's all done at the same time, so it's basically just getting longer and longer and longer. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab your hat when you think you've got enough. You're going to grab your hat, you're going to wrap it around in some sort of formation that you would like. Is it long enough? Yes or no? If it's not, just keep going and make extra. That's how I did mine. So you're going to need quite a bit of that. I've got about 2 to 3 meters. My hat is going to fit around about an 8-year-old, maybe even a smaller child. It's quite a small hat. And then you can make the eyes, of course, any colour that you like. So after you've made your bandage, see, as you can see I've got quite a bit, we're going to make the eyes. So grabbing any colour that you like, we're going to start. To make the eyes, I'm going to use a half double crochet stitch. You can use single crochet or you could use double crochet or a combination of any of those. So getting your slip knot, I'm using 8-ply, which is equivalent to sports weight or double knit, and a 4mm hook. This hook was supplied by Moonshadow Threads, and it's so cute. It's really comfortable to use as well, and I will put the link below in the description box. So what we're going to do, I mean, you could use a magic ring for this part, or you can chain 5, and then join to the first stitch with a slip stitch. For the half double crochet, we want to chain 2. It's a bit too close. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go into the center ring and pull up a loop and then pull through all 3. We're going to work 15 of these stitches. So that's the chain 2 counts as our first stitch. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to continue on. I'll just keep the camera rolling so you can crochet along with me. And then when we get to the end, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first chain 2. Pull my centre ring because I did work over my tails. That will close up our hole. If you've used a magic ring, you can also pull the centre to pull tight. And then we're going to cut off our yarn. You can sew in your ends or you can crochet over them as you go around. Then we're going to grab, I'm just going to put this in the background because I'm going to be using white. And white is not going to show up on white. If I thought about it, I would have picked a different colour, but just sort of using up scraps, whatever you've got laying around. So you're going to grab your new yarn. And if you're going to work over your tail, join your yarn in around the other side. So under any of the stitches, under both loops, just loop your yarn over your hook and pull through. Going to chain 2. And I'm going to pull down that short piece just to secure that in there. I'm going to lay that over the top so I can work it as I go. And what we're going to do is work 2 half double crochets in every stitch around. So my chain 2 Canada is my first stitch, and then that was my second. Going into the next stitch, we're going to work 2 more. And you're basically repeating this the whole way around our project. And because this stitch is a smaller stitch, it's going to be quite small eyes, but if you're using a double crochet stitch, you're going to have nice big eyes. I've also got eyes on my owl beanie hat. You could use those as well for the project as well. So continue on until we get back to the beginning. So when you get back to there, I've worked over that tail so I can actually snip that off. And don't ever cut your stitches either because I've done that too. Have to start again. So we're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 at the top there. And then what we're going to do is leave quite a long tail, so about 1 metre, which is about 1 yard, and then you're going to snip it off. Because you're going to want this tail to sew your eyes on. So once you have all your components to this project, then we're going to start constructing. So you need 2 eyes, 2 eyes, your bandage and your hat. And you're also going to need a sewing needle to attach all your bits. So this is time to sew our eyes on. And how do you get the perfect eye? Well, when it's stitched on, how does it look perfect? It's kind of not perfect there, but I don't care because this is going to be a mummy, so it's going to have a strip, so I can put the bandage just over that little bit there I'm not happy with. But let's just hope that the back of this is as nice as the front. It's magic! I sewn this on with white, and you can't see white, can you? White stitches. Now here's the magic trick, and it's really quite simple. And if you have seen my owl video, you already know this magic trick. So grabbing the good side of your eyeball, and then we're just going to thread our yarn. It's really quite simple, really. It's not that fancy, but it is magic trick because you can't tell. So decide where you want to put your eyes. So I'm thinking that's about even. Then you want to place it even on the other side. So I've got 1, 2, and it starts just at the smidge past the second row. Now, the trick is to keep your stitches as close to the edge of the white and then as close as you can to the green bit to the white bit. Now I'll show you what I mean. So don't put your needle out here and sew your eye on, because you're going to have a big stitch coming across like that. The closer you can get to your piece that you're sewing on, so the eye, the better. Even if you're slightly underneath, not too much because it'll pull it out of shape, slightly underneath. And to get so we don't have a seam on the back, don't grab your needle and go straight through all the layers like that. Only use the front stitches. So this, does that make sense? So you're just picking up a stitch. I'm not going right down and around the stitch. I'm just grabbing a stitch. See how I've just grabbed like that? I haven't gone down and around, like in and out of the stitch. So then go into the white piece. And slow and steady really does win this race. Going like a bull in a china shop, you're going to make it messy. So you're getting as close as you can on the green section to the white section. And you'll notice that my stitches are really, really small. So getting as close as you can to the white, but I'm going through the green section. Like so. And see how your stitches are in line with your white. So even, like I said, even if it's just slightly behind, it's maybe a little hard to see on camera. But I'm just slightly behind when I'm stitching. What that does, it hides your stitches just underneath. And I'm only picking up the stitches that are on the front of the hat. I'm not going in and around the stitch. I'm just the top layer, so I'm just sort of picking a stitch. And the way I'm doing it now, this is the speed that I would go at normally. So I'm not doing it extra slow for the video. This is what I would normally do. If you go fast, you're going to make it look really bad. So I hope that helps you. I mean, it's really horrible when you see a really good hat and the bits they've stitched on, you can see these big, huge stitches. I really don't like it. But I can be a bit of a perfectionist sometimes, so. And if you see a stitch that doesn't look right, stop and take it out. Don't continue on and hope for the best. So continue around, stitching on your eyeball, and then we'll do both your eyes and we'll come back to the bandage section. So there we go. Our eyeballs are sewn on. And look, no white bits on the other side, so that's good. Don't worry if you get a couple. I mean, hey, if that's your first time, plenty of practice, you'll get it. Really got to sew the end in as well. Okay, so to put our bandage on, it is going to be better if you do have a Mrs. Foamy. I'm using Miss Polly because this is the size that fits her head. If you don't have a foam head, you can use a balloon. And so blow it up to the head size that you need, or the head size that your hat fits. Then put a tea towel or a piece of fabric around the balloon. This isn't sharp, but it may pop a balloon, so you really don't want to do that and scare the cat or the dog or the kids. So I'm just going to go and find Miss Polly. She's hanging out with Mrs. Foamy and Manny Quinn. I'll just go and find her, and then we'll start putting the bandage on. So with my bandage, I've actually decided to add another row, because when I put it around the hat with the one row of stitches, it just really wasn't thick enough. So 2 looks a lot better. So now we want to start wrapping our bandage around our hat. So put your hat onto your Mrs. Foamy or your balloon covered with a piece of fabric, and you're going to just start wrapping and just putting it how you want to have your bandage. You want to try and crisscross. I've just stuck a pin in the back there to hold it in place. You want to try and crisscross the bandage every now and again. I actually just did this before and it took me 3 goes to be happy with it. So it will take a little bit of setting up. This is really hard to show you on camera. Is that the hat falling off? So we're just wrapping it around. Crossing it every now and again. Making sure you don't have anything that's just, you know, you don't want all bulky in one section. So like I said, just play around with it. See, that's gonna it's gonna cover up his eyes. So I don't know. So just muck around and then see what you can come up with. So the trick is to get it even, and I played around with this 3 or 4 times. I haven't sewn it down, I've just sort of wrapped it around. As you can see, it's crossing over in certain sections. So it will take a little bit of mucking around. So once you've got it on there, we haven't sewn it down, you can move it around, adjust it if you want to. I've sort of come up and looped it around the top of the head and then sort of crossed it over, and that's where my bandage is finishing. I will tuck that in so you can't really tell that's where it starts. But hey, there's so many different variations that I'm sure you can come up with. You could make it a lot longer and almost completely cover the green, so you could do it that way as well. So once you have your bandage how you want it, I'm just going to adjust. I'll adjust that up to there. And then sort of, you want it kind of even, but kind of not, if that makes any sense. And then you want to start sewing it on. So I've got a long tail that we've got on the end of my bandage. If you don't, doesn't matter. You would just need to sew it down. And what I'm going to do is just sew across the edge, just on one edge. You could just tack it down in certain spots, but I think I will just go around the whole thing and just tack it down on that one edge. So I just need to find my sewing needle. I've got you on the ground on the floor at the moment because it's quite hard to fit the whole foam head into the video. So what I'm going to do is just attaching it to the hat. And remember what I said with the eyes. Nice small stitches close to where you're stitching. It's going to help you a lot more and be a lot easier to sew. So you're going through the stitches and then picking up like that. And you want to do this all the way. Oops. Do this all the way around your hat. Then I'll catch up with you when we've finished the sewing section. So this is what my hat has turned out like. I think this is crazy cool. I'll turn the hat around so you can see the side. So thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, as there will be plenty of more videos coming up. I release a video about once every week. And don't forget to check out other Halloween videos that I have. There's spider webs, crochet pumpkins, and I'm sure you'll find something that you like. So until next time, happy crochet. Okay, see all those bugs? They are mosquitoes. Ew. I hate mosquitoes. I really hate them. They're trying to get me. Ah!